everybody, and welcome to Cooking with Miss Cindy. I'm Miss Cindy from the South Brunswick Public Library. Today's recipe is going to be a little bit maybe more steps, a little bit more complicated than what we're used to, but it is as usual a completely microwave recipe. That means no stove, no oven, especially now with this heat. Today's recipe is going to be a microwave fried rice. It's a really good way to use up leftovers and pretty much just make yourself a really good meal really fast. So let's go. Alright folks, we are going to start on our microwave fried rice. This recipe is a little bit more maybe complicated. It's got more steps than my recipes usually do, but it's been like 13 weeks of you guys watching me make mug meals, so I think you can definitely handle a little bit more at this point. So let me tell you what you're going to need. First and foremost, leftover rice. I didn't put it in here because this is too big, but I eat rice pretty much every single day and I always have some leftovers. So in my fridge is some kind of day-old rice that I'm going to be using. You can also use fresh, but this is definitely a good way to use up leftovers. So here I have carrot, scallion, garlic, ground ginger, or fresh if you've got it, which I don't, corn, which is very optional, and usually there would actually be peas in this recipe, but I don't have peas, so I'm going to put in corn because I like corn, soy sauce, and an egg. So first things first, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a multi-step recipe, but it is a nice way to use up leftovers. Maybe if you don't have enough vegetables for like a lot of fried rice, but enough for like one serving, it's better than having to use the stove or the oven. It is so hot that it is going to be a lot easier to just use a microwave for a couple minutes and be done with it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some oil to our mug. This was not pictured, but I would hope that you have that in your house. I'm going to be adding some canola oil because it is a nice neutral flavored oil, but if you have vegetable oil or corn oil, that would also work well. So it is going to be 1.5 teaspoons of oil. If you have sesame oil, this would be a really good place to use it. If you have sesame oil, I would say 1 teaspoon of regular oil and 1/2 teaspoon of the sesame oil. We don't keep sesame oil in my house because of allergies, so I'm just going to be using full-on canola oil. So in the mug, you're going to combine the oil. You are also going to add 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Now, this isn't necessarily all the soy sauce that you're going to use. You can always add more if you like some. This is just for the base. This is also when you're going to add your ginger. If you're using fresh ginger, I would say probably 1/2 teaspoon would be good. I'm using ground ginger, so I'm only going to use 1/4 teaspoon. And garlic. Now I have a garlic press. It looks like this. You put the garlic in here, you push, and it comes out this end all done. If you don't have that, you can also grate your garlic using a cheese grater. If you do this, I want to make sure that you know that you need to be very, very careful. So peel your garlic. Leave this little kind of root part at the top. This is going to be a nice way to hold it and protect your hands. Use the small hole part and just grate. I'm using this big old garlic, which is technically 2 garlics that got stuck together because I really love garlic. And I don't know if you saw, but I put a little bowl underneath to catch my garlic. But if you don't like garlic, you can use a smaller garlic or no garlic at all. This will add some nice flavor though. Okay, so I'm going to push down. I'm not going to push it too far. This was a big chunk. I can use up the rest later. So I left some here and I made sure to keep my fingers safe. So I'm just going to kind of pull that over. And alright, so now my garlic is going in here. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to mix it with a fork. I want to make sure everything is covered in the oil and that the ginger and the garlic are dispersed. This is going to go in the microwave like this for 30 seconds. Alright, so this looks good to go. I'm going to leave it here for now. Now what we're going to do is we are going to shred our carrot. You're going to want to pick either one medium-sized carrot or half of a big carrot. I don't even have a medium-sized one. I just have this like sad leftover one. So that's what I'm going to do. And same as with the garlic, we're just going to grate. I'm going to hold it here. Now you could grate it on the one with the big holes. You could even cut it with a knife and slice it up if you'd like. That's fine too. You just need to make sure you're being very safe with the knife. However, I feel that grating it makes the pieces a lot smaller, and by making the pieces smaller, you make them cook faster. Again, the bigger something is, the slower it's going to be to cook. You're going to want to increase the surface area that's getting heated. So like if you took one big potato and you tried to cook that, it would definitely take a lot longer than that one same potato cut up into a bunch of small pieces. Now again, I just want to reiterate, this is still a sharp instrument. Just because it is not a knife does not mean that you should not be careful with it. This very small piece is very pointy. It can hurt you. And this whole thing is grating carrots, and it will grate your finger just the same. So make sure you leave a nice big chunk. So now I'm going upwards because the knife is going this way. So if I do this, I will slice myself open. So I'm being very careful here. And the inside is usually not sharp at all. So I got my nice chunk of carrot here. And altogether, it's probably about, it's about a 1/4 cup of carrot. So whatever size carrot you use, make sure you get about a 1/4 cup and you should be good to go. So I'm going to add my carrot to my garlic, ginger, oil, soy sauce mixture. I'm not going to mix it yet. Now, again, I'm adding corn, well, just because I really wanted to add another vegetable and I want to use up this corn. But what you would be adding more traditionally is peas. I wish I had any, but I used up all of mine, so here we are. So again, peas, corn, whatever other vegetable you decide to use, you want it to be also about a 1/4 cup. And now scallions. I'm going to use up just the leftover bits, chop that sad part off, and just cut it right over. Since you are going to be cooking this, you can even cut down into the white parts. If you actually go out and buy ingredients, you only probably need about 1 to 2 scallions, really depending on your taste. Alright, should be good. Now, this is going to get all mixed and incorporated. Alright, now for the main event, the main ingredient, cooked white rice. It's a little hard, it's a little dry. That's what happens when you have leftover rice. So I'm just going to kind of bunch it in here. You want a cup. You don't have to be super exact. This isn't baking. But I'd say this is about a cup. No leveling here, just a lot of smushing. That's why I said use a big mug. Or a plate or a bowl. Not a plate, but a bowl. Move these ingredients over here. Well, garbage. Break up any chunks. Now, if you have rice vinegar, for example, this would be a good time to add it. I would say if you're doing rice vinegar, maybe put in about a teaspoon of it here. I don't, so I'm not going to add it. Make sure you get it all mixed up. You want to make sure all that ginger garlic mix gets to the rice as well. I'm actually going to add maybe half a teaspoon of water just to kind of help rehydrate a little bit. Okay, now that you are done with the mixing, this is going to go back into the microwave. Now really just to get all the ingredients to kind of mingle and to warm up the rice. So it's going to go for 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to go with 1.5 minutes and we'll see what happens. So while that is cooking, you are going to take 1 egg, crack it into a bowl. That is a very large chunk of shell. If you ever do that, if you ever get a chunk of shell in there, use the rest of the shell to pull it out. It acts like kind of a shell magnet. If you try to get it in with your hands, it gets kind of goopy, but the shell will hold on. So, you pierce the yolk, and you take a fork, and you just beat the egg. You just keep beating until the egg is uniform in color. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm actually going to add a dash of soy sauce, because why not? Okay, so once your mug's out of the microwave, you're going to take your egg and you're going to put it in. But the first thing you're going to do is make sure your hands are clean, or with a spoon. You're going to carefully flatten your rice. You want it to be a nice flat surface. You're going to take your egg, you're going to pour it right over the rice. Do not mix it. Do not try to poke it so that it goes further in. Just leave it on top just like that. Now this is going to go for another 1.5 minutes. This is out of the microwave. I actually ended up having to microwave it for 2 minutes because it still looked kind of wet on top, which means that the egg was not completely cooked. So now, you take the cooked egg, and now you can go ahead and poke holes in your rice to mix all that cooked egg with the rest of your meal. And be very careful, this is very hot. Add some more soy sauce. Guys, I love soy sauce so much. And mix it in, but that's just to flavor. And you are done. This is a microwave fried rice that probably took about less than 15 minutes to do, which even if you have the fastest Chinese food delivery in your town, this is still probably faster than that. Okay, so definitely more steps than what we're used to, but it is actually not too bad, and you learn a good few useful skills along the way. Now, I actually kind of came up with this recipe last night. It was raining really hard, and what ended up happening was that I wanted Chinese food, but I didn't want to go out to get it because of all the rain, and I didn't want someone to deliver it to me because, again, all the rain. Like, it was thundering, it was lightning, it was a lot. So, this actually was stuff that I already had kind of laying around my house. I already had leftover rice, stuff like that, and it came out really good. So the reason that I'm telling you guys this is just to reiterate again that this is really a way to use up the stuff that you have in your house. So feel free to substitute stuff that you already have or that you might want. Feel free to throw in extra stuff. Feel free to keep stuff out of it. All these recipes are recipes that I hope that you really make your own. So, until next week, bon appetit! Bye!